Good morning, Veritas. Today is Thursday, May 28th, 2020. I hope everybody is doing well. Here is our assignment for today. If you look in your Google Classroom for Thursday, May 28th, here's your assignment. The first three questions, then the fourth question is the All-Star Challenge, which I'll post another video showing you how to solve that one. All right, so make sure you've tried these by yourself. You should have your answers in front of you now in your work, and I will show you how to solve these correctly. Okay, so number one says, which of the following correctly represent 0.807 or 807 thousandths? Because after the decimal point, we have the tenths place, the hundredths place, and the thousandths place. So since it goes to the thousandths place, we can just read it as 807 thousandths. Okay, so which of the following correctly represent 807 thousandths? Choose two. So here's my strategy like I've been doing lately. Choose two. Make sure that you don't forget to choose two. So make it real obvious that you need to choose two. Okay? So I'm going to even put like a comma right here so I know I'm going to put two answers there. Okay, so let's get started with this. 0.807 or 807 thousandths is what we're looking for. Okay, so we'll start with A. 7 times 1/10 would be a 7 in the tenths place. So after the decimal point is the tenths place. There's a 7 there. Plus 8 times 1,000th. So that's an 8 in the thousandths place. So there's an 8 in the thousandths place. And you can fill in the hundredths place with a 0. So we have 708 thousandths, which is not the same as 807 thousandths. So A is incorrect. 708 thousandths is what we had, and that's not right. Then we'll go to B. 807 hundredths. So if it's going to be hundredths, that means it ends or lands in the hundredths place. So 807 hundredths would be the 7 lands here. 807 hundredths, if you read it as 807 hundredths because it lands in the hundredths place, that's 8 and 7 hundredths, or 8.07. So the 8 is in the wrong place here, so it is not the same as 807 thousandths. That's 8.07 or 807 hundredths. So that's not right either. Okay, we're looking for the 8 to be here, the 0 to be here, and the 7 to be in the thousandths place. Okay, so now let's go to C. 7 times 1,000th, so we'll put a 7 in the thousandths place. Plus 8 times 1/10, so we're going to put an 8 in the tenths place. Since there are no hundredths, we can put a 0 in the hundredths place, and we found our first correct choice. 7 1,000ths, 7 in the thousandths place, 8 tenths, 8 in the tenths place. We have 0.807 or 807 thousandths. So C is the first correct answer. Okay, so I'm going to put C there. C is the first one, but now I'm reminded I need to choose another one, because that happens. You get excited. You're like, yeah, C, I got it. There it is. But then you didn't choose 2. So we got to keep going. D is 8 times 1,000. So 8 times 1/1000th. So that would be an 8 in the thousandths place. Let's put our decimal point here. There's an 8 in the thousandths place, plus 7 in the tenths place, or 7 times 1/10. So we'll put a 0 here where there's no hundredths, and we have 708 thousandths. So again, it's not 807 thousandths, this is 708 thousandths. Got to be careful with these, right? The 8 is actually in the thousandths place, the 7 is in the tenths place. So they tried to trick you there a little bit, right? And last one, it must be this answer, but I'm still going to solve it. 807 thousandths. 807 lands in the thousandths place, so it is 0.807 or 807 thousandths, just like we're looking for. So E is the second correct answer. We have C and E. We chose 2. We worked out every one of them carefully to make sure that we chose the correct 2, and we're done with the part number 1, C and E. Give yourself some snaps if you got that. Nice work. That was pretty tricky. So these ones are tough when you have to choose 2, because you really got to make sure you solve all of them to make sure you get the right 2. All right, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 says write 206,427 and 8/100ths in word form. So let me tell you a little bit about reading numbers in word form. So we're going to write them using words. So the way you read it, this is called a period up until the comma. So these 3 digits here are called a period. Then these next 3 digits are called a period. Then, right, if you had millions, the next 3 millions, the 3 digits that would be in the millions place, the millions, the 10 millions, and the 100 millions, that would be the next period. And then the billions would be the next period, and the trillions would be the next period. So what you do is you read one period at a time, okay? So you're going to just read 206. You're going to ignore the rest of it. When you see the comma, since this is the thousands period, this is the hundreds or the ones period, so this is the thousands period. So we're just going to read it up to 206. So we're going to read 206. When you see the comma, you say thousand. So 206,000. Then you're going to ignore what you just said. You're going to read just the next period, 427. Then at the decimal point, you're going to say and. Because that's going to tell us what fraction or what decimal of the next whole, right, of the 8th whole we have. So 206,427 and 8/100ths, because the 8 is in the hundredths place. Okay, so you're going to read the first part first. 206, not 206, because you only say and at the decimal point. So be careful that you don't put 206, right? 206, then you say thousand. That's the first period, we're done. 206,000, then you put your comma, just like you would here. Then you're going to read the next period, 427. 427, not 427, right? We're just saying and when we get to the decimal point. So far we have 206,427. Now we're at the decimal point and we're going to say and we're just going to read this decimal here, 8/100ths, because it's in the 10ths, hundredths place. So 8/100ths. And now we're done. So 206,000, 427 and 8/100ths. It has to be exactly like this. 206,000, 427 and 8/100ths. That is the correct answer. If you have any other ands in there, then it's not correct. Okay, give yourself some snaps if you got that. We haven't done that in a while. I thought that word form is pretty tricky, especially for the kids who are lucky enough to speak 2 languages. So good work if you were able to get that exactly correct. If not, just think about this. We'll do another one later this week. Okay, last problem for today, number 3, for this video at least. The value of the 9 in 26,490 is how many times the value of the 9 in 39,340? So I'm finding the 9. The value of the 9 here in 26,490. What's the value of the 9? How much is that 9 worth? 26,490. So the 9 is worth 90. That's its value. So 90 is how many times is or equals how many times, we're not sure yet, how many times the value of the 9 in 39,340. What's the value of this 9 now? It's a 9 in the thousands place. It's 9,000. So what we have is the value of the 9, or 90, is how many times equals how many times the value of the 9 in 9,000 here. Okay, so 90 is how many times 9,000. So the tricky part is kids want to start here, but we're going to end there. We're starting with this one because this 9,000 is the one that we're going to multiply. And when we multiply it, it's going to get over to 90. So we're going to start here. I'm going to kind of do my work here. 9,000. The decimal point is after the last 0. Okay, so what am I going to multiply this by so that the decimal point moves to here after the 90? So let's look. We got to move it this way to get it over to so that there's only a 9 and a 0. So we're going to move it left 1, 2, 3. Nope, not 3 places because that would be at 9. So we're just moving it over 1 place to there, 1 more place to there. And now it's at 90. Okay, so we move the decimal point left 2 places. So let's use what we know about place value. We moved it left 2 places. So we took 9,000 and we multiplied it by something, and notice it got smaller. So if we multiply it times a whole number, it's going to get bigger. So we know that we are multiplying by a fraction because it's actually getting smaller, right? We're going to multiply 9,000 by a whole number, it would be bigger than 9,000. So since it's going to be smaller, 9,000, we have to multiply times a fraction to get here. So since we moved it left 2 places, that tells us that we multiplied by 1/100th. Because every place you move to the left is 10 times bigger. Every place value you move is 10 times bigger. So we're going to go from 9,000, and we're going to end up having it be 90. Okay, so 9,000 can't be times 100 like we said because that would make 9,000 bigger. So we're actually going to be, since we moved that place twice, we had to move it 2 places. We multiplied it by 1/100th. We actually divided by 100 in order to get to 90. All right, so the answer there is 1/100th, and then I'm going to check. I multiplied by a fraction, so it should have gotten smaller, by 2 decimal places, and you'll see that there's 2 less zeros here because the decimal point moved 2 places. So 2 places here, and that is correct. 1/100th is the answer for number 3. Okay, so the 990 is 1/100th the size of 9,000. And that's it. Okay, let me know if you had trouble with this one, and I'll use a place value chart to try to show you if you're a little bit confused about that. But we've done a bunch of those by now, so that should be pretty smooth. So just let me know if you need help. All right, and that's it. Hope everybody has a great day. See you later.